Thank everybody for attending our October meeting for the Walton County Planning Commission. Thank all of you guys for being here. Thank staff, our deputies, and for everyone on the commission for being here this evening. I usually have one of two guys that, because of, not that it really matters to me, but for so many years that I would pray, and these other guys, I kind of asked them, and now they're all gone. So y'all going to get me tonight. So yeah. So anyway, we're gonna open the meeting with just a prayer, and then if you guys would please stand with us, and we'll say the pledge. So let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for all the blessings that you give us daily. And so many of them, Lord, we take for granted, but we just thank you for each and everything that you allow us to have, the things you allow us to do. And over the past week, we saw many things that are certainly are near and dear to our hearts as we watch people from around our state and other states who are suffering from a storm that was unprecedented and certainly has caused a lot of damage, and still a lot of people who are suffering and will for several days. And we just ask that you be with them and the people who are serving and trying to serve and trying to get there to serve them, and those that are working. Lord, all the crews that come in from other states to donate time and resources to try to help, just be with each one of them. That is certainly, I think, on the forefront of a lot of folks' minds, and certainly ours here tonight. We ask that you be with us in this meeting, and that you help us to use wisdom and discernment as you've given to us in the decisions that we make. And we ask all this in your holy and precious name. Amen. If you can say the pledge. God, it's terrible. All right, thank you so very much for that. So I have all members present with the exception of Josh Ferguson, Tim Kemp, and what's the status on the other representative, Sharna? Are we still, none, there's not one been named there yet? Okay, so we have a void too for one of our district coverages, so hopefully we'll be getting that filled later. So let the record show that Josh Ferguson and Timothy Kemp are absent tonight. All other members are present. And at this time, I'm going to ask the members if you've had a chance to review our minutes from the September 12th meeting. I will take a motion for approval of those minutes if anyone doesn't have any corrections or omissions.
Move to approve.
I have a motion for approval. I have a second.
Second.
I have a second. All in favor, raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So our minutes have been approved, and we don't have any old business on our agenda tonight, so we're going to get right to work on the two cases that we have before us tonight. So the first one is glasses. Mm-hmm. The first one is Z240800001 to rezone 3.66 acres from A2 to B2 with conditional use for outside storage for landscape company. Applicants is Michael and Stephanie Holbrook. Properties located at 720 and 740 Cannon Farm Road. Are the applicants here? Sir, if you would please step up, state your name, tell us what your plans are, what you desire to do with the property there.
I'm Michael Holbrook and owner of Turfing, Georgia. Company's 4 years old. I was a general manager of a lot larger company after COVID. Started my own company. Relocated down to Oxford, Georgia. We purchased this property, and I'm looking to use this property to store landscaping supplies and my bobcats and my equipment of that nature.
Okay. Any questions from any of the board members?
How long have you been at this location?
I just purchased this location approximately 7 months ago. I haven't operated yet out of it because I had to get it zoned.
Any additional questions?
What's the tractor, what's the trailer doing there? Anything in that trailer?
That is actually a pine straw trailer that I had dropped there, and then I realized that I couldn't have it there, and so I haven't pulled any out of there. I just don't have a tractor and trailer to move it. So I was trying to get it empty to where I could get the pine straw company to come back and pick it up. And now I've filed for the zoning, and so I'm hoping if I can get the zoning, get all the fencing up, if I don't get the trailer unloaded, maybe, I'm kind of in a bind to not be able to move it. So I cleaned up everything else. I do still have that trailer there, and it does have pine straw in it.
Okay. You have anything else on that property at the moment?
In the barn, I have fencing material from where I built a 6-foot fence. I have block, which I talked with the gentleman who's code enforcement, and I moved the block back over to the barn side, which is all fenced in, because I didn't have anywhere else to put it. So I do have block there, yes.
So code enforcement talked to you and then,
Yes, and we kind of made the agreement if I'd move it out of sight and move it over into the area that's fenced off with a little gate up toward the barn area, which is up here and up here at the fence.
right,
I've got it there to where you can't see it from the road right now. So I moved it over there.
and you were in business somewhere else prior to this?
I have a business license in Cherokee County. I have a property off of 575 and 140 right now.
So you're familiar with, happen to be licensed with the city and be zoned properly and all that with the
Yes.
county?
Yes.
Okay.
Any additional questions?
So is this like owner occupied for just for your own use?
No,
Or
it's,
like supply?
It would be, yes, owner occupied for just my own use as far as for my own supplies. At the moment, if I decided later on to maybe try to start selling, then I do know that I'd have to come back and ask for permission to do that. For right now, all I want to be able to do is house my equipment and house my supplies. I do work for True Green, Triscapes, and Premier Pools. I've also agreed to move the double wide up off the property if zoned, because I was told I couldn't use that as an office. And I hope to later on, maybe build me a metal building there. But for the time being, I was told, I put in writing I'd move the double wide. There is a small stick-built building there in behind the 2-car shed there. I don't know, I'm gonna have to, maybe I could utilize that for a second, maybe for at least a desk to walk in, sit down, and write down what I've got in inventory. I've also, in my landscape plan, I'm putting fencing all the way around it. And up at the road, I will landscape the front of the road, in front of the fence. Everything, I'll make it look nice. I mean, all my work's nice. I want my place to look nice. I've already put 6-foot fence all the way across from behind the barn, all the way across, and it actually turns just about the line at the 740 line there and comes down. So I do know, whoops, I'm sorry. Let's see. Maybe you can fix it for me. I actually live in Oxford, Georgia, on the Newton County side off of Cook Road, a mile from the horse barn. So we have moved down here. My wife retired from South County government and purchased it. And we relocated down here about a year and a half ago.
All right, any other questions? Thank you, sir. Is there anyone here opposed to this case? You can go ahead and have a seat. Anyone opposed? Nope. If there's no one opposed, then no need for rebuttal. So I will bring it back to the board for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the case number is Z24080001 as presented along with the landscaping that you mentioned, plus the fence.
So the landscaping and fencing then that was mentioned
Right.
by the applicant, you want to make that condition upon those two things?
Yeah, I'm making that a condition.
Okay. Did you get that, Tracy? Landscaping and fencing, yep. That's okay, we're good. Okay, so I have a motion from John, do I have a second?
A second.
I have a second. All in favor, raise your right hand, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. And this will go to the Board of Commissioners on November 5th. Okay? Yes, sir. All right. Moving on. If I can keep my paperwork in order, my glasses. Next on the agenda for the evening is a conditional use CU 240900002, conditional use for 29.51 acres for outside storage. The applicant owner, John McGaha, properties located at 1841 Highway 11 and John Deere Road. The applicant I see is here, so if you could step up and tell us what your plans are, please.
My plans are to, right now, to take about maybe 4 or 5 acres of the land right where my T area between the building and the warehouses in the back, and to turn that into parking for boats, RVs, tractor trailers, campers.
Okay. So the place or the part that you're wanting to utilize, and as you well know, John, as many buckets of balls you sold me back years ago, I pretty much know how your property lays there. The portion you're talking about is between your office building that you have now and the self-storage buildings in the rear.
Yes.
Where the tee boxes,
Right in the-
tee boxes for the driving range are.
Yeah,
And that side of your property, as you drive from your office space out to the self-storage, to the left of that, then that would be where it kind of abuts some residential area right there?
Yes.
Isn't there a fence already down that?
no, there's not, I'm going to fence it.
Okay, okay.
I'm going to put fencing all around it and cameras too. Nowadays, you got to have a lot of security.
Okay. And so what would your point of entry be to get tractor trailers in there? I don't think you could get them you couldn't enter where you have your used car lot now.
They can get in through there.
Oh, they
I'm
can?
gonna have to put a gate with a coded gate, and I'm gonna have to put it in far enough where they can get off the road to be able to enter the code. I don't want them, I don't want them traffic backed up.
Right. So,
I may have to put 2 gates in. I may have to put one as you drive around and take a right, go into the back, put one there, and then an exit one back up coming this way, coming out from the other side. I think the plans the engineer drew up showed 2 gates on it.
well, that's where, maybe we have a little bit lesser to go by. And I'm not going to say it's not here.
Oh, okay.
But I still only see one entry point, which would be, I assume would be your current entry point
Right,
that you
that's
have
the current
now.
entry point.
Okay, so my question would be, and maybe Sharna can guide me here too. With the change or with the conditional use, Sharna, introducing tractor trailers to the site, would there can it just be assumed that the current entry can be used, or would it need to go to DOT for a decision of what type entry for those type vehicles?
It will have to go through DOT.
Okay, it will have to go through DOT.
Any kind of change you do on anything on the state highway, DOT has to say grace over it.
So you got that, John? I mean, in other words, what your intent is, DOT may end up telling you what you've got to do.
Oh, okay, well, if they do, I won't park the tractor trailers if it comes down to be an issue.
Right, well, I'm just saying, obviously, there's going to be concern being on the state highway.
Well, I have them coming in making deliveries sometimes,
Right.
tractor trailers now,
Right, right.
because they'll come in to work on the cell tower in the back and bring some big.
But you're going to be hoping that there's going to be a lot more of them because you're going to be charging them to park there, right?
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, you wouldn't be doing this if you didn't want to make money. I know you.
no,
yeah.
that's true. And,
Yeah.
the tractor trailers are a portion of it, but even if I don't park them, I might just go with the boats and the RVs and the campers. Depending on if the DOT gets involved, depending on what they're going to make me do out there and the cost of it,
Right.
and I'll address it that way and see which looks the best,
Okay.
because I don't.
And so you're going to end up having to have some site work obviously done there for putting your pad in, probably some drainage, things you're going to have to work with.
A little bit, not much, because I've got the retention pond down there, and I don't want it where anything washes off. But
Right. So are your plans, the parking area for this storage is going to be gravel, is that true?
Yes.
Okay.
Whatever, I'm gonna talk to some people and see whether I need to put a bed of gravel and then crush and run on top, or whatever they suggest as to what, avoid
Right.
that.
Well, and whether you know this or don't know this, and I've had a little discussion today, me and Sharna talked about this because I didn't realize Tim wasn't going to be here, the representative for your district. But, we actually, from our board, last month passed an errata, and that errata would have said you would have to put asphalt there. But that errata has not yet passed the Board of Commissioners. So at this point, my assumption is going to be, and certainly the commissioner will make the final decision at his meeting, but my assumption can only be the ones that we've had previously, and the one that I can remember most recently myself, that storage facility is gravel. So I don't see that there's any need at this point, because obviously that has not been settled yet. So the gravel would seem like a good option, or an option because it's what we've used before. When you're talking about the fencing, what do you intend to fence? Because here's what we're looking at, or I'm looking at, trying to make a decision, is you've made an application for a conditional use on 29.51 acres. But you're telling me that you only intend to use a portion of it up front.
Well, that's right now. I mean, depending on how it does, but I'll fence in anything where people are parked. People are gonna want it fenced to park their equipment or vehicles there.
Right, and
Security.
you don't plan to have any entry point off of John Deere Road?
No,
Okay,
there's not a good place to enter down.
right. So
Down there.
I'm just telling you what would be normal. Normal would be for us to say, if you're going to come in here with 29.51 acres and that's your request for conditional use, then we can't grasp at what we don't, something that's unknown. We have to work with what's known, and you're asking for 29.51. So it would be, we would want the totality of the 29.51 acres fenced, because that's what you've made the application for.
Oh,
You see what I'm saying?
yeah.
Because we don't have any way of interpreting what your plans might be other than what you presented to us. And what's presented to us on this is showing some use further back on the property, which that may be future use, but it's still showing some use back on the back.
Oh, the engineer's plans that he drew up shows the area in red and shows it fenced. There, I'm gonna,
So you're going to bring a fence and just fence off part of it right now. That's where I'm trying to
the
get
area I'm
to.
gonna use, yeah, because.
Will be 100% fenced?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
all right. I'm with you.
100% fenced.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure there wasn't going to be an open side to it.
No,
Okay,
no.
okay.
No, all that's back toward my house, and, no, there's no sense in there's not gonna be any way to get back there to park, really, unless I decide I'd have to expand it and probably put another entrance in off of Highway 11. I've got DOT permission when I bought the property to put another entrance in off Highway 11. I just never did because of the
Right.
cell lane and all that.
Right.
So if it were to expand that much, I'd put another entrance in off Highway 11 and come in over there also, see.
Right. Okay.
That would be a huge, a lot bigger thing to bite off right now.
Got it. Anybody else have any questions? Any other members have a question? Thanks, John.
Okay.
Is there anyone here opposed to this? Yes, sir. Yeah, I need you to, John, you can go sit down. I need you to come step up to the mic, please, and state your name. No, just state your name, tell us your address.
My name's Terrell Albright. I live at 620 John Deere Road. I bought a house, my wife and I bought a house over there 5 or 6 years ago, fixer-up home. You know, there's not very many houses on John Deere Road. I also own a body shop in Walnut Grove, Albright Refinishing Collision. I have storage units on my property and parking there. And I'm worried about until tonight, when I came up here to the property, I didn't know that was him that owned that property where the putt-putt and all that stuff was. I'm worried that whole area right there is going to end up looking like that. And it's going to hurt everybody on that street as far as what we're trying to do with our homes, you know. I'm all about trying to grow. I'm actually just cleared all the property behind my building, and I'm going to add another row of storage units. It is a great business as of right now, but all the aggravations that come with it, the stuff that comes up when you have stuff parked there. I park 18-wheelers and motorhomes and everything else on my property. It is aggravating, and it's going to be messy. And I talked to a couple of my neighbors. They didn't show up tonight, but we're all concerned about that.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Anyone else to speak in opposition? Is there anyone to speak on behalf of the applicant? Yes, sir.
I'm Billy Mitchell. I live at 869 John Deere Road. I also own a house at 500 John Deere Road, another house at 680 John Deere Road. From those houses, you can't even see this property. That property's highway commercial. It's not residential. So John's trying to expand. There won't be anyone living on this property. There won't be any problems as far as egress, ingress. It's just an addition to his rightfully his own business. And there is a need for that. So I own properties all up and down John Deere Road. I have no problem with it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else to speak on behalf of the applicant? All right. So at this time, I am going to bring this back to the board for a motion. And as I said, Tim Kemp called me this afternoon. He was going to be late coming back from South Carolina at a funeral, so he wasn't going to make it, and asked if I would hear this case and use my discernment on his behalf, which is what I intend to do. So with that being said, I'm going to make a motion for CU 2409002, the conditional use on 29.51 acres. And my motion is going to be for approval with a couple of things, condition. One is the fencing, and I understand that the applicant wants to fence that section that he's immediately going to use, but the condition is going to state that if there's any expansion, that two things occur. One, that the fence then would be added to the perimeter of the entirety of the property, and secondly, that there will be exploration at that point due to, obviously, an uptick with the number of clientele you may have there for a second entry point, so that both of those would be part of the condition that I'm adding to this. Don't have any problem with the gravel right now. I think that is consistent with what we've done and approved in the past. So with that is my motion, and I will take a second. Not now, you can't. I'll get with you in just a second. So I will take a second.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Nope. Ma'am, I'll be with you in just a second. So that will complete our agenda for the evening. And John, your case will go to the BOC on November the 5th as well. Are there any public comments? Ma'am, now's the time for you to step up and take the mic. Yeah, absolutely. If that a Georgia hat you got?
No, it's Phillies.
Oh, leave it over. Okay, well, okay. Me and you might not see eye to eye on that, but we are. I'm with you. All right, let's go.
Hi, my name's Debbie Bartlett, and this is my husband Buzz. We lived in that property on 1871 for a year, and we've enjoyed it since
1871 on which road?
Highway 11.
Okay, thank you.
It used to be that, called that.
So we've enjoyed it, the time that we were there, and since we've left, we've had it rented. Right now, we have a precious family in there with 3 small children. I'm a ER nurse. My heart is just to protect the children and make sure that somebody couldn't come over from that property into the residential area where those children are.
I would like to say that, 40-some years, I guess 30-some years, we've owned that property, and it's a gem for people to live in. It's been many years they've had opportunity to rent it and fair price and everything. And to me, to see that piece of land come down to as close as we're talking about, or that I can see, that would be a concern about us, about the children that are going to be there.
Just to make sure that someone from the gentleman's property can't get over into that backyard part.
Right. Well, and I'm just answering, that is the intent of my condition. Number one, if you listen to, as I progressed and I was kind of narrowing him down with the fencing, I wanted to make sure whatever he does initially, that the totality of the initial development is fenced. And then if he expands to the usage of the rest of his property, that then the entirety of his property has to be fenced. And so when he moves forward, he'll go through Sharna's office, and Sharna would be in charge of making sure that the fencing is proper height, proper style for what he's going to do there.
Thank you.
But there will be a fence for protection.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, what about, about the 3 or 4 little kids that run around right there, and we've always fenced it up and kept it up?
Well, there's been something behind them the whole time, and I'm going to just say this, and I'm not trying to be ugly or nothing, but that's their mom and daddy's responsibility.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
okay, I got you, man.
That's their mom and daddy's responsibility.
Okay.
Yeah, not us. That's theirs. And I mean, I'm sure they're good folks, but I'm just saying, in general speaking, today, there's not a lot of that responsibility that goes on, but responsibility for children does fall to their parents first.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am. With that, Sharna, do you have anything further? Tracy? You want me to call you out? No.
Do it. Do it.
Do it. Do it. With that, I'll take a motion for adjournment.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to adjourn.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.